Alright, thought I'd just do a little bit more of an update on this little truck since I've had it now for 6 months, and I've done 49,045 kilometres. I don't know if that's going to be visible later on. Look, great little truck, really happy with it. Performs well, it's pretty comfortable. I'll just give a few of the stats that I've actually got written down here. So on the 49,000 Ks, this thing has done an average of 65 kilometres per hour. It's a mix of running around the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, and I do the odd run to Tamworth and Port Macquarie or wherever, Bundaberg and so on. I've used 8,300 litres fuel so far, so it's averaging 16.93 litres per 100 Ks, which I think's not too bad. The little Isuzu I had before, it was running at about 15, I think. Keeping in mind that most of my freight is actually quite light, so you know, I generally haven't got any more than a tonne on. If I'm carrying more than that, if I'm up on my weight, it definitely uses a lot more fuel. It'll get up around that 19-20 litres per 100 Ks, but still not too bad. Now around the cab, since I did that last review, I put in a fridge. I've got put in a King's fridge here, which fits in like really nicely between the seats, so I've got access to whatever as I drive around, although I'm going to park the truck for the day, so I'll leave that open. The rest of it, I'll just keep a bit of gear in the back. As for here, I think in the first video this had a top cover. I've since taken that out so I can stack all my rubbish in here. So I'm driving along, which is way better as well. The little I haven't done anything with the stereo. That's still on the list of things to do. There's a guy here in Acacia Ridge apparently will put a Kenworth screen in it and change the camera, which the rear camera on this works, but it's pretty crap. But yeah, from a, and I'll just do the interior since it's starting to rain outdoors. Really good. I love having the big cab, way better than having the small cab. Yeah, a bit of a pain being an extra long wheelbase. It's, you know, you got to do a 20-point turn sometimes, but overall, you know, could not be happier. The dash, the truck, everything, the controls, everything works fine. I've not had really, I don't think I've had any dramas. Got a little bit of a squeak sometimes somewhere, but it hasn't been enough that I've bothered to even have a look for it as yet. I did get the windows tinted on it, which made a hell of a difference. I have had to replace the windscreen once. Did a windscreen going down to Tamworth, and replaced this at Auto Glass up here in Coopers Plains in Brisbane, and it was, I think, $550, and you know, it took an hour or so. It was pretty reasonable. Like, I was a bit concerned about that, but that was really good. I think from inside, can't fault the truck. You know, the stereo's pretty rubbish, but it works. You know, you can listen to the cricket. The cup holders, yeah, still just rubbish. They're just terrible. But it did have a little ashtray in beside here. I've taken it out, and that does fit a lot of small cans and bottles and things like that. But I just put everything in the fridge now. So yeah, from inside, from a comfort perspective, it's good to drive. Like, I've got it set up how I like. Although I did, if I'm doing a long trip, I've got bought a seat cushion just for those really long runs, and I will use it from time to time. But the seat's pretty good. It's pretty comfy. As for everything else around inside, it's like driving a car. It really is. Like, I haven't had much experience with these little trucks. Like, I think my first truck was an 86 model Western Star with an 892 in it, and the last truck I owned was a 96 model Western Star 4900 FX with an N14 Cummins in it. And then I had 20 years of pretty much working up the management chain in transport for Jim Pearson's in Port Macquarie until a few years ago. So I haven't got a lot of experience with the little trucks, but certainly this thing, like, you know, just nice to drive. You get in, it's comfortable and easy to get around town. Like, could not be happier with it. All right, well, I might jump out and try and do a little bit of the outside. Not that there's much to talk about there. From the outside perspective, not much has changed here. The only thing I've had to do was tighten up the mirrors on a trip down to Tamworth, and that was take the cover off the top there, tighten that down on both sides, and that fixed that up. Bull bar, really happy with that. That's a Hyundai one, and it's about the only part of the bloody truck I haven't hit something with so far. Scraped a mirror on a brick wall once, caught this side on something, but yeah, look, the only other thing, that 100-litre fuel tank, I've still got that is just utter rubbish. It just drives me mental. But if I go and put add a 200-litre tank, it costs $3,000 or $4,000, and it's not going to make me any more money. So for the moment, I'm just suffering along with it. But yeah, the cab's in pretty good shape. Like, I wash it every week. I ceramic coat it. Pretty much any time I'm stopped, if I'm waiting somewhere, I'll give it a clean. Yeah, so far, look, with the truck, you know, I've had a lot of people come up and ask me what it's like, you know, and if I've got a choice between this and that last Isuzu I had, which was a 2019 model 65 150, I'm going to take the Hyundai every single day. As for the body, no dramas so far. As I said, I've tapped it here and there. You know, I'm a bit I get a bit anal with the looking after it, so I've actually put tape over here where the straps join, so that the straps don't scratch it. In saying that, I have tapped here. I've got another reflector to put on, and I have scratched the side down here. I'm not used to these big trucks, and scratched along the side, which shits me no end. Down here I've just put white tape to cover it up, but I will get that fixed because it annoys me. But yeah, other than that, so far, awesome little truck, absolutely love it. You know, I don't think it's the most attractive looking thing by any stretch, but certainly does the job. You know, customers like it, and so far for me it's been a really good investment. If I get any questions through YouTube, I'll try and answer them, but I'm not very tech savvy, so that's why it takes me so long to do all this stuff. But anyway, I hope that helps someone if you're looking to buy one. Cheers. Probably one of the main things I have to mention too is the service cost. I'm getting this serviced by East Coast Trucks here in Brisbane. Even though I didn't buy it from there, I'm just getting the dealership done. So it's had a 10,000k service, a 20,000k service, and a 40,000k service. It's due for services every 20,000 k's from there, and so far it's working out at about 10 cents a k, so you know, about $4,000 all up for 3 services. I think they're fairly comprehensive services. You know, you probably get it done cheaper by your mate down the road, or if you're pretty handy, but look, I'd just as soon get them to do it, and just build it into the price. So it's working out for me about 10 cents a kilometre for servicing costs. I budget around about total with fuel, registration, insurances, the service of course, all the other bits and pieces, wear and tear or expected wear and tear on tyres. I work on about a cost base of about 80 cents a k, and I share that pretty openly with customers. If a customer wants a quote, I'll give them a kilometre rate or an hourly rate, and I'm more than happy to share figures and explain why it costs so much. A lot of people don't appreciate that, you know, this is over 4.5 GVM, so you're paying the full rate for tolls and so on. So 27 or $8, whatever it is for Toowoomba, you know, $20 each way for the Gateway Bridge, and so on and so forth. So I hope that helps someone.